This is Jocko Podcast number 130 with Echo Charles and me, Jocko Willink. Good evening, Echo.
Good evening.
Caesar, when he perceived that the 7th Legion, which stood close by him, was also hard-pressed by the enemy, directed the tribunes of the soldiers to effect a junction of the legions gradually and make their charge upon the enemy with a double front, which having been done, since they brought assistance to the one to the other, nor feared lest their rear should be surrounded by the enemy, they began to stand their ground more boldly and to fight more courageously. In the meantime, the soldiers of the 2 legions, which had been in the rear of the army as a guard for the baggage train, upon the battle being reported to them, quickened their pace, and were seen by the enemy on top of the hill. And Titus, having gained possession of the camp of the enemy and observed from higher ground what was going on in our camp, sent the 10th Legion as a relief to our men, who, when they had learned from the flight of the horses and the sutlers in what position the affair was, and in how great danger the camp and the legion and the commander were involved, left undone nothing to dispatch. By their arrival, so great a change of matters was made that our men, even those who had fallen down, exhausted with wounds, leaned on their shields and renewed the fight. Then the camp retainers, though unarmed, seeing the enemy completely dismayed, attacked them though they were armed. The horsemen, too, that they might, by their valor, blot the disgrace of their flight, thrust themselves before the legionary soldiers in all parts of the battle. But the enemy, even in the last hope of safety, displayed such great courage that when the foremost of them had fallen, the next stood upon those who were prostrate and fought from on top of their bodies. When these were overthrown and their corpses heaped up together, those who survived cast their weapons against our men as from a mound, and returned our darts which had fallen short between our armies, so that it ought not to be concluded that men of such great courage had injudiciously dared to pass a very broad river, ascend very high banks, and come to a very disadvantageous place, since their greatness of spirit had rendered these actions easy, although in themselves very difficult. So, war is eternal, and some things do not change. And in war, we see the brutal examples of savagery, and we also see the courage and sacrifice that's hard to find anywhere else. Like in that passage right there, unarmed men attacking the enemy. And even the enemy showing courage, climbing on top of stacked bodies of their brethren to gain a little bit of high ground. Think about that, gaining the high ground by climbing on the backs of your fallen comrades. Now, that is war, and that account of war is from the book The Gallic Wars, which was written by Julius Caesar himself, although he refers to himself in the third person. And that war lasted from around 58 BC to 50 BC, 8 years of fighting between the Gauls, who were a Celtic race of people in what is now France and Belgium. I guess you'd say Celtic.